And we're back with more coverage from the show floor at NAB 2024. And I'm here with Raymond Mosco of VIVE Mars.
Hey, Damien, how's it going?
Good. Well, we get back a while, so.
Indeed.
So VIVE Mars is a really interesting product because it came out of sort of consumers abusing the VR headset, the HTC Vive headset, and trying to do virtual production with it, camera tracking. And you guys looked at that and thought, well, why doesn't that become a product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, VIVE Mars is a subsidiary of HTC Vive. Most of us know, if you were in the early 2000s, you might know us as a cell phone company. But, you know, more recently, we've been really kind of pioneering the way as it relates to virtual reality headsets. And, you know, we look back at this kind of current generation of virtual production. You know, a lot of these productions go back to The Lion King, they go back to The Jungle Book. And, you know, Vive, our VR division, has a rich history being a part of our technology being utilized in those productions. And so, you know, in that era, you know, those teams were using our VR headsets to do virtual location scouting. They were strapping, you know, our controllers on top of cameras to do VCam stuff, using our tracking pucks in order to do kind of rudimentary mocap and the like. So, you know, we've taken that information and built VIVE Mars, our Mars Cam Track, a professional class camera tracking solution that does all those things that people were kind of doing with the Kluge version of our technology, but also providing kind of professional class features like, you know, access to Genlock and timecode, which are really important when you're filming, you know, on LED walls and the like, to allow our users to have a very financially accessible but also powerful camera tracking solution.
And anyone that's tried to get in virtual production, taking a look at the price tags, typically a tracking solution starts at around 40 grand. So whether that's optical, like an OptiTrack system, something like that. So actually, when I first heard that you guys were going to make the Mars system, I assumed we're looking at like maybe a 20K price point. And so that was one of the pleasant surprises, that the base system starts at like 5K.
Right? Yeah, that's right. So the core Mars Cam Track kit is $5,000. It allows you to track up to 3 objects, which is a large improvement in comparison to a lot of other products in the market that traditionally their entry option only allows you to track a single object. And then, you know, for us, we recognize that, you know, there's a lot of potential in this space, and we were really interested in figuring out how that we can make camera tracking as accessible as possible. You know, the quality of our tracking is top notch, but we also recognize that because we built this technology on the shoulders of our VR tech, that, you know, we could make this affordable and accessible to both the large studios, but also the indie studios, independent operators, and then also allow, you know, corporate communications, as well as even people like game studios to be able to leverage camera tracking both in engine and you know, in mixed reality to do virtual production.
What kind of stage sizes are we talking about with a Mars system?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think we're in an interesting place in the industry right now because, you know, I think initially in the last 18 months it was like the bigger you build it, the better it's going to be, and now we've kind of come over the hill of that and realizing that there are these kind of small to medium size, you know, studios with these, you know, kind of 20 to 50 foot size walls are really becoming the sweet spot for virtual production because, you know, especially as tools like set extension are coming into play, you no longer need these massive walls to be able to create these massive experiences with virtual production. Additionally, you know, this is also allowing a lot of indie creators to be able to do more with less. And, you know, one thing that we're really proud of is that when everyone talks about virtual production, they think of these massive LED walls. We have a lot of users that use chroma key, use green screens, and are getting the same quality production without that huge technology investment.
Cool. One of the things that people don't realize when they get into virtual production is it's not just about the camera tracking in terms of position and rotation, but to handle focal changes, handle changes to zoom, and even potentially aperture, you also need to track what's happening with the lens ring, right? Mm-hmm. And so you guys recently, a little bit
about 6 months ago.
About 6 months
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, you came up with a solution for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we released Mars almost 2 years ago, and it really set the industry on fire. So many teams were excited to be able to adopt camera tracking into what they were doing, but the shortcoming of that is that you were really forced to use prime lenses for everything. And you know, we looked into the market and we looked for other lens encoders to figure out, you know, what was a great solution to accommodate zoom lenses into our ecosystem, and instead we realized that we were just going to build our own. And so, you know, through partnerships and through our own engineering, we released something called Mars PhysTrack, which is our own lens encoder that allows you to attach it to the barrel of your lens and actually drive that lens data as you transform the barrel of your focus, iris, or zoom back into your game engine, so that the virtual camera that you're experiencing with the game engine is also going to have those same transformations that you were physically doing with the physical lens itself.
Yeah, which is, if you haven't played with it, it's really kind of fun to watch the background defocus and focus as you adjust the focus lens, focal ring on the camera. So the base system, 5K, the PhysTrack is...
It's like $499 each, so
Yep.
you can run up to 3 of them. We found that most of our users are typically using 1 or 2. And actually a fun announcement for NAB 2024 is that, you know, we've actually partnered with Small Rig, and we're able to use the Small Rig remote focus remotes to be able to run our PhysTracks remotely now. So previously you had to be on top of the lens, you had to pull the focus yourself, but as of NAB 2024, you can now purchase that accessory from Small Rig and run it remotely.
Of course, real camera operators know that they would never touch that thing.
That's right. We got that feedback very quickly after we released PhysTrack.
So the other big announcement, NAB, is you have a new bundle.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. So when you buy Mars, you know, when we released it, we assumed that a lot of our initial users would be our VR users. So, you know, because we were using the same base station and tracker ecosystem as our VR headsets, we didn't include the maximum amount of base stations usable in the set as part of the original core kit, because we assumed you probably already had base stations, you probably already had trackers laying around. But you know, it's been such a popular product, and we're finding so many folks outside of our VR ecosystem coming in and buying Mars, that the first piece of feedback is like, well, hey, I want a kit that has everything. I don't want to have to buy all these extra pieces. Or, you know, some of our customers don't even realize that they're not getting the full capability of our system, because they think it's all in that box. And so as a result, here at NAB 2024, we're announcing Mars Studio, which is a Pelican case. It includes the extra base stations, the extra trackers, as well as 2 PhysTracks in this incredible case, so that you have everything that you need completely maxed out. And it's actually something that we are offering to our resellers like Film Tools. It's not something you'll come to our Mars website to purchase. We're actually encouraging you going out into the world and going to folks like yourselves, like Film Tools, and being able to engage with this ecosystem of resellers and buying this from them. But then also gives you as the resellers the opportunity to bundle it with all kinds of other incredible things, be it services, be it assets, or other pieces of hardware that you find are necessary for this ecosystem, and allow you to really kind of make this bundle your own.
Cool. One of the things that, if you've done anything in virtual production, you realize pretty quickly is that the software side of things becomes very unwieldy. Unreal Engine is an amazing application, but it's a beast in terms of the complexity. And I was impressed that actually you guys did a pretty good job on the software side of really making even the lens calibration process fairly straightforward for the uninitiated. And you've got a few updates to the software that just came out, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Again, also new for NAB 2024. You know, we've been listening to our users, and we've really kind of pushed some quality of life software updates into our Mars ecosystem. Traditionally, right now, if you need to recenter, if you need to do anything with Mars, you do it on the core Mars box. But we've found a lot of teams typically will place that box nowhere near where the actual stage where the action is happening. And sometimes, you know, being able to check the base station connectivity, be able to check what the IP address that you're using, or even doing something like recentering doing, we've now created a web client that will allow you to actually just remote in, and you're able to access all that information on any mobile device or any computer just through a web browser. Additionally, we were implementing a take recorder. So if you are, not necessarily doing something in real time, but you're, doing camera moves and that, and you want to have that information, and potentially you don't necessarily want to have to peel that information out of Unreal, we're going to allow you to export that information as an FBX, so you can use it anywhere you want or potentially modify the information. And then lastly, we're actually creating a tool that will allow you to see the signal health of the base stations and the trackers and give you telemetry of that in real time. So you'll no longer have to guess which base station is the one that seems to be, tracking least, is everything connected, etc. You're actually going to be able to, again, through a web client, be able to look and see that actual telemetry itself.
And that actually is pretty huge. Yeah, that's great. All right, well, if people are at the show and they want to check out the VIVE Mars system in person, you guys have presence here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Come to booth Center Hall C1346. We're partnered up with Ximetry, another software partner of ours that's kind of been with us along for the ride. Come check us out, and you can see everything that we're doing there at the booth.
And I should add that Pro Video Coalition's parent company, Film Tools, has a Mars system in their Burbank store. So if you happen to be by, you can check that out there and see how that all works. All right, thanks a lot, Ray.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.